Okay, so Wednesday morning. So pretty conventionally, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my main training days. I find that I make those hard efforts, so that's when I tend to do sort of like heavier or faster or whatever. You know, the stuff that's demanding. But that doesn't mean that I rest the rest of the time. So the rest of the time I do something fairly easy. So for this phase, it's a lot of zone 2 jogging. That tends to be the remaining days. Sunday's a bit of an exception. I just make it a sort of like very easy. So maybe a little bit of jogging or just walking, whatever. But yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, train hard. Rest of the time, if you're going to do anything at all, make it fairly easy. That seems to work for, and you can use that template for pretty much, anything really. However you want to approach it. Alternatively, I suppose you could do sort of like 4 days hard, 3 days easy. But I'm finding at this stage of the game, 3 days hard a week is about right for me. So this is probably not my best idea, but what I'm going to do today is dynamic effort squats. So last week I did 50 kilos red band for 12 sets of 2 on the minute. Okay, fairly light setup, but on the minute it stacks up. So today it's 55 kilos and it's 10 sets of 2 on the minute. So I put it up 5 kilos and I'm losing 2 sets. So my idea on these dynamic effort is to bounce between a cycle of 12 twos, 10 twos, 8 twos, and put the weight up as you go through, and then start again at a slightly higher level again. But what I've done today, which is, I'm questioning my sanity now, is I've just done a Norwegian 4x4, which is, so that's a 4 minute interval running. So this is pretty much all out. I mean, the way I do it is I do the first minute I'm getting up there, so heart rate is sort of like 130, 140, 150. Within the minute I'm up to 160s. So and then I hold it at mid 160s, for the remainder. So over 3 minutes of mid 160s for sure. And that is like, there's no way that it ever becomes easy. It's always hard. I'm going to say today, I was thinking to myself, okay, this is not quite as bad as previously. Objectively it was the same. I was hitting mid 160s up to 170 at one point or so. So I was getting the heart rate up. Objectively it was a repeat of what I've done before, but subjectively, how I felt about it, it was slightly, I'm going to say it was a bit better than previously. So maybe repeating these things makes it a little bit easier. But anyway, 4 minute intervals. You do 4 minutes as I described, 3 minute rest, and you do that 4 times. And believe you me, you're cooked at the end of it. It's you're burnt toast. So now, at the end of all that, I'm going to do some weights, and I'm feeling like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but hopefully the way I've arranged this is doable. So the dynamic effort work. So it's not heavy. In some ways it's a continuation of the cardio. So let's see how it goes. I'm not, during the warm up, I thought, okay, I've done all these intervals. So now that I'm warmed up, my legs should feel pretty good. But no, not at all. Not at all. It's just the same old. It's sort of like, the problem is the knees. And I think that, you know, the running simply does not get the range of motion of squatting. Okay, I'm doing this no belt, no knee sleeves. Yeah, just doing it raw, you know, completely raw. So yeah, it's you know, the first couple of sets or so, you know, it's a mobility issue, getting down particularly. You know, getting down. So weight's not particularly heavy, so getting down and then getting back up quick. You know, it just doesn't happen for the first set or two. I think, you know, it's probably it's probably an aging thing. So this stuff, I think, you know, none of us want to admit it, but you know, the aging process takes its toll. And yeah, you know, some things you can sort of like preserve by hard effort. I think other things, you know, no matter what you do, they're going to fall off. But yeah, so this speed work, I think, you know, for me, is definitely, you know, down in the gutter. Anyway, doubles, 10 doubles. Yeah, as you can see, there's not a lot of speed involved, is there? Not got pain. Doesn't matter. Just do your best, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Nothing works. Go on. Another two. So yeah, it's just hard, that's all there's to it. Okay, it'll be over soon enough. Spot around today. Okay, halfway. As I say, soon over. But yeah, I just feel stiff, the knees are painful, so doing the intervals beforehand didn't make it, you know, easier in that regard, made it harder. Pretty sure it's harder. Probably a lot easier if I put the knee sleeves and the belt on, but I'm thinking the more I can do without them, probably the better. Probably get a bigger effect when I do put them on. I don't know. I'm guessing. Maybe cardio wise this is a lot easier. Yeah, I'm thinking that now. So, how many is that? 7 sets. I think that in terms of heart and lungs, might be a little bit easier having done the interval work first. In terms of knees and stiffness, all round stiffness is worse. So, try and look for a positive. Yeah, cardio's, after you've done the interval work, this is not hard cardio at all. Okay, 2 to go. Last one, let's get it done. So I say, yeah, it's very unpleasant and uncomfortable, but it's soon done. So, it's probably adding a little bit to the conditioning, you know. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. 10 sets of 2. So yeah, having got through the whole thing, I'm going to say the plus side of doing the intervals first is that you've already experienced sort of like maximum cardio stress. You know, it doesn't get harder than doing those 4x4 intervals. You know, it's like the gold standard for VO2 max. And so when it comes to doing these, yeah, there's still a strain. Yeah. So doing these EMOM, still got some heart rate involvement, but it just feels like that is not the problem anymore. As I say, my problem today on these, you know, thinking about it, well, not thinking about it, my problem today on these is most of the knees, which is it's a long-term issue with it. You know, you've got a choice, haven't you, really? You know, live in comfort and not do this stuff, or live in discomfort and do this stuff, hoping to preserve your abilities. So, you know, I choose the latter. Hope it's not making anything worse. But yeah, no doubt about it. You know, running gives your knees a good pounding. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad for your knees. You know, I know a lot of people make the case, you know, running ruins your knees, but you know, if you investigate it, you know, there's no absolute science behind running being good for your knees or bad for your knees. What seems to be the absolute science is that sedentary living ruins your knees. So you can't just, you know, you can't treat your body like a car. You know, a new car, keep it in the showroom, never run it, and it remains pristine. No, you know, your body will deteriorate if you don't use it. Okay, I think I'm going to stop the filming there. So what's coming next? Clean and press. Okay, stop the filming. I'll probably come back, do a clean and press.